Hello children, let's come back to our maths class. Today we are just going to continue the points to remember that we have just stopped in the previous class. In the previous class we have started with the points to remember for the new topic. Yes children, we started a new topic, that is the third unit, trigonometry, and we have taken around 2 points under points to remember. So today we are just going to continue with our points to remember children. Take down your classwork. Take down your classwork. Write down today's date. Just continue under points to remember. No need to give the heading once again. Already we have given the heading, yes. So you have to just put here number 3. Just go for number 3. I hope you people are ready with your classworks. The date has been written and you have taken down point number 3. Okay children, just come to your maths textbook page 89. Come to page 89 from your maths textbook. Can you see a topic over there? Angles in standard position. I hope you people have found it. Yes. So we have to take down that figure as point number 3. Okay children? So let's start with the point here. I'll explain to you what is here. Write down angles in standard position. Write down the definition for it first. An angle is said to be in standard position. An angle is said to be in standard position if its vertex is at the origin. If its vertex is at the origin and its initial side is along the positive x-axis, and its initial side it's along the positive x-axis. Write down the definition for angles. When you call an angle in standard position, the angle is said to be in standard position if its vertex, you know what is the vertex, yes? Suppose this is the angle, means you call this part as a vertex. So how is the position of the vertex? The position of the vertex is at the origin. So where is this vertex lying? The vertex is lying at the origin. See, somewhat like this. So the vertex is at the origin. This is called the vertex. And what else they have given you? And the initial side is along the positive x-axis. So this is your x-axis and this is the y-axis, eh children? And this side we write the positive numbers and this side we write the negative numbers. So this is called as positive x-axis and this side we call it as negative x-axis. Similarly, the upper part is called the positive y-axis and the down part is called as the negative y-axis. I hope you are clear with the different types of axes, how to write an axis. So the axis which has the positive value, you have to call it as positive x-axis. The x-axis which contain the negative value will be called as negative x-axis. So similarly, you can just define positive y-axis and negative y-axis. So I started with a triangle, yes children? I started with a triangle and what you call the angles in standard position as. An angle is said to be in standard position if the vertex is along the origin or it is at the origin and the initial side, this is the initial side. I told you that when you just go on drawing an angle, yes children? So that's if you go on drawing an angle, the first thing is we draw a ray. Then we keep the protractor at the vertex and we try to draw the angle, whatever angle we need we draw. So here what happens is this side is called the initial side. This is initial means first itself we are drawing that rays. So that side is called the initial side and the angle, that is where you get the angle, that side is called the terminal side. So you have to remember all these things. So these are the new terms that you are learning in your higher classes. Like where we have already learned about triangles in our lower classes. You have studied what is a vertex, what are the different rays used over there. We have studied how to draw an angle. we have studied the different types of angles. So here we are just having a detailed study. Okay, we are just having a additional study of triangles. So we have a initial side for a triangle and we have a terminal side. So remember, two sides for a triangle. One is initial side, that is the starting point. We can say that is the starting point, and the terminal side, that is the ending point. Okay, children? And this angle part is called the vertex, that is the point. Can you see a point over here? Yes, that point is called the vertex. So I hope you people are clear with the definition of angles in standard position. Okay, we have to write down one more, children, here. Let's continue. An angle is said to be in the first quadrant. We just continue here. An angle is, I can just write one more line, yes, so you can be able to see it. An angle is said to be in first quadrant. So when you call it in first quadrant, the angle is said to be in the first quadrant if its standard position, if in the standard position its terminal side falls in the first quadrant. The definition is given in the next statement, children. You can continue the statement. It's just continued. An angle is said to be in first quadrant if the standard position, if in the standard position its terminal side falls in the first quadrant. Its terminal side falls in the first quadrant. Here are the definitions, children. So an angle is said to be in first quadrant if in the standard position. I have already told you what is the meaning of standard position. The vertex is at the origin. That is, if you draw a triangle, if you just have imagination of triangle, the vertex of the triangle should be at the origin, and the initial side is along the positive axis. And now here we are talking about the first quadrant. When you say that particular angle is lying in the first quadrant, an angle is said to be in the first quadrant. Okay, an angle is said to be in the first quadrant. When you are going to say that angle is lying in the first quadrant, if in the standard position, first of all you should have a origin. If in the standard position the terminal side falls in the first quadrant. Falls in the first quadrant means the angle will be lying in the first quadrant. We have already studied about the quadrants. This is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, this is the third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant. So the terminal side, where will be terminal side lying? The terminal side will be lying in the first quadrant fully. Okay, from 0 to 90 degree. What will be the value of the angle in the first quadrant? It will be 0 to 90 degree. So it is in the standard position plus the terminal side is in the first quadrant. It is lying in the first quadrant. That is, it will be having the value 0 to 90 degree. Okay, coming to the second quadrant. In second quadrant, the angle will be from 90 to 180. What will be the value over here? It will be 90 to 180. And in the third quadrant, it will be 180 to 270. And the next one, 270 to 360. So this is the different angles that you have to remember. So 0 to 90, then 90 to 180, 180 to 270, 270 to 370. So if you have the angle between 0 to 90, you have to say it is the angle in the first quadrant. If you have the angle between 90 to 180, you have to say it is lying in the second quadrant. If you have the angle between 180 to 270, you have to say that it lies in the third quadrant. If the angle is between 270 to 360, you have to say the angle lies in the fourth quadrant. Are you clear, children? Okay. Let us complete the point. Have you taken the point, children? So here we have just defined for the first quadrant. So no need to write for the remaining quadrants. We can just change the statement accordingly to the quadrant. If you were asked to find for second quadrant, what will be the definition? An angle is said to be in second quadrant if in the standard position, its terminal site falls in the second quadrant. Are you getting my point, children? Just change the first and the first as second. Okay, so we'll get the definition for second quadrant. For third quadrant, what you'll say? An angle is said to be in third quadrant if in the standard position, its terminal site falls in the third quadrant. Are you getting my point, children? So we can just go on changing the statement according to the quadrant. I hope you people are clear. Okay, have you taken on the point, children? Okay, now you have to take your scale and your pencil, and now we are going to draw the figure. The figure 3.2, which is already given in page 89. Come on, let's draw the figure. You have to use your scale and pencil, children. Draw neatly. Okay, let's start with the work. So come on, draw neatly. First of all, you have to draw a x-axis and a y-axis. So they have just given x dash, y dash. Draw the figure. I have told you that you have to use a scale and a pencil, children. Okay. Just mention the origin also. The place where the x-axis and the y-axis intersect. This part is called as origin. O. The position is called as origin. We denote origin as O. Okay, so mention the measurements. This is 0 degree here. This is 90 degree. This is 180 degree. You know this, yes? 0 degree. This is the angle. So 0 degree angle. This is a right angle. So you can say it as 90 degree. You know the measure of a right angle. It is 90 degree. And this is a 180 degree. That is when you just take the whole line. Just think of a protractor. Just think of your protractor. You have from 0 degree to 180 degree. So this is 180. And when you come to this side, this is 270 degree, children. Okay, just full. Like when you just come 0, 90, 180 plus 90. So when you just take the angle from this side, from 0 to 90, from 90 plus 90, 180, then 180 plus 90, 270, and 0 degree or 360 degree. So that completes our whole circle, full circle. So 0 or 360 degree. Okay, have you taken on, children? So mention the quadrants over here. This is first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant. Take on the different quadrants, first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, now you have to write down the angles over there. So here the angle is between 0 to 90 degree. Here it's between 0 to 90. Okay. Here 90 degree to 180 degree. 90 degree to 180 degree. Here 180 degree, that is the angle lie between 180 to 270. And at the last 270 degree to 360, that is the angle lies between 270 to 360 degree. Just complete this details, children. We need these details. You have to know these details. You may feel that this looks very simple, but we have to get the application of this. Okay, we have to use this in our sums. So you have to be very careful with the different quadrants. And also you should know the different angles. You should know the angles. Where is the angles going to lie? Whether it's lying in the first one or the second one or the third one or the fourth one. Okay, children? Have you completed this? Be fast. Is the work done? Okay, shall we continue, children? Okay, with this we complete our points to remember. Now we are going to just start with our exercise 3.1. So Give a heading, exercise 3.1, and take on the first question. Identify the quadrant in which an angle of each given measure lies. Okay. Have you taken down, children? Exercise 3.1, the first question. Identify the quadrant in which an angle. That's why I have told you that you have to know the details. What are the different quadrants? What is the position of the different quadrants, and so on. They have given you an angle. They have given you a measure, and we have to find out where this angle is going to lie. Whether it's going to lie in the first one or the second one, and so on. Okay, children. Take the first one. It's 25 degree. And here what are we going to do is, and I think that I have explained to you in the previous class about the different way of reading the angle. That is, if you have a angle, suppose I just have a quadrant over here, have a x-axis and a y-axis, okay children? And if you are going to consider a positive angle, if you have a positive angle, in which direction are you going to move? You are going to move in an anti-clockwise direction or a counter-clockwise direction. So you have to go in this direction for a positive angle. Getting my point, children? So if you have the angle with a positive value, like 25 degree, 100 degree, whatever, it's with a positive angle, you have to move from x-axis. That is, you are going to move from 0 degree, okay? Remember, children? You are going to move from 0 degree, but you have to move in a counterclockwise. You know how is the position of a clock? Yes, the clock moves from 12, then it goes to 1, it goes to 2, it goes to 3, it goes to 4, it goes to 5, and so on. Yes, but now when you go for counterclockwise, means from 12 it should go to 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and so on. So be careful with the direction. So if you deal with a positive angle, you have to go in a counterclockwise or a anti-clockwise, like 12. From 12, then you have to go to 11, then 10, 9, and so on. Okay, now, if you have a negative angle, how you are going for the measurement? You have to move in a clockwise direction. Yes, that is, you are going to start from 0 and it go from here. That is, you have to just think of your clock. That is, you have to go from 12, then 1, 2, 3, and so on. Clear, children? So be careful. You have to be very careful with these 2 points. If you have a positive angle, you have to move in a counterclockwise direction. And if you have a negative angle, you have to move in a clockwise direction. Okay, children? Let's start with the sum. Have you taken on the question? Yes. The first sum is, okay, so what is the first one? 25 degree. So let's draw a quadrant. So you have to draw a x-axis and a y-axis. Okay, children, for every sum you have to do this. Okay, it's not only for the one sum. For every sum you have to draw x-axis and y-axis. So x dash, y dash. Just mark the angles. No need to write down the quadrants now. Just draw the x-axis and y-axis. That's all. You have to draw neatly, children. Okay. Now let's continue. 25 degree. So it's a positive degree. So remember the 2 points. First of all, positive. It is a positive value. So we are going to go in a anti-clockwise direction. So from where I have told you to start? From 0 degree. Okay, 25 degree. So it is going to be below 90 degree. You know the value of the quadrant? This is 0 to 90. Yes, children? So this is 25, means somewhat here. It is going to lie somewhat in the first quadrant. So no need to just, okay, I just draw 25 degree, or you can just mention that this angle, it is going to start from here and it goes somewhat to very few places because only 25 degree. So this is your 25 degree. Okay, I'll just put a draw angle Don't take a protractor and don't go for drawing 25 degree. Okay, children? This is just here. The thing is to find out the quadrant. That's all. So just draw a angle and say this is 25 degree. So you can just put here its first quadrant, and we can write down the answer here below. 25 degree lies in the first quadrant. 25 degree lies in the first quadrant. Okay, so we have completed the first subpart of the first sum. So where it's lying, it lies in the first quadrant. Okay, now let's go for the second sum. What is the second sum given to you? The question is 825. Okay, so now this is very easy. Here a small manipulations and a small mental calculations, and we can go with the sum. Okay, the first thing is I'm going to write down the table of 9. Okay, I'll be just writing the table over here. It's 90. It is 9 table, but I'll be just using it for 90. So you have to just go on adding 10 to it. So 90. If you know the table of 9, we can write the table of 90. Yes, children? Yes, so 90, 180, 270, 360, 450, 540, 630, 720, 810 and 900 degree. Okay, so I've just written in terms of degree. Okay, children? It's 90, 180, 270, 360, 450. Just we can go on continue. Okay? It doesn't stop over here. According to the number, if you have a bigger number, you can just go on writing the numbers to the numbers that you need. Okay. So here I need 825, so I have just stopped near 900. If I have a number around 1000, I can just have one more number like 990 and so on. Okay, so just I can go on adding 90 to the numbers and I can get the required value. Okay, just put your pens down, children, and listen to me now. It's 825. Okay, now the first thing that we have to find is where is this point going to lie? Where is this number going to lie? So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to find the nearest number to it. What I'm going to do? I'm going to find the nearest number. Which is the nearest number here? We have two choices, okay. I can just take a number greater than it, or I can take a number smaller than it. If you take a number greater than, we have to follow a different way, and if you take a number the smaller, different way, and if you have a bigger number, you have to follow in a different way. For this sum, I am going to teach you in both the ways. Okay, I'll be choosing both the values, one for the smaller one and one for the bigger one. So if whatever way you wish, you can just proceed it. So if you have any other sums, you can just apply it. Okay, children? Okay. So what I am going to do is, I am just going to take the smaller number first. Okay. So I want to know the value for 825, and I have taken the value as 810. So this is equal to what? This is equal to 810 plus what, children? This is, I want the angle 825, but which angle have I chosen? I have chosen 810. But here I have to add some value, because this side and this side should be equal. Yes or no, children? Yes, so this is 825. So here also I should get 825. So you can just have a subtraction, or if you know to do the answers directly, yes, this is 15, I know. 810 plus 15 gives 825. So minus 810, so 5, 1. So the answer is 15. So this is 810 plus 15. Okay, or you can write down this as 900. Okay, so 900, I want, okay, I'll just put here 825. I want 825, so I can use 900. I told you that we have two ways. I can take the smaller number for that particular number, or I can take a bigger number than that. That is, I can take a smaller number from 825, or I can take a bigger number from 825. So 900 minus 75. When you take a bigger number, you have to do subtraction, and when you take a smaller number, you have to do addition. That's all. Getting to the point, children? So write down the steps. 825 is written as 810 plus 15 degree, and 825 can be written as, okay, I just put here or. I just do the sum in two methods. Whichever method you feel easy, you can choose that. Okay, children? take down the multiples also. You have to take down the multiples also. 90, 180, 270, 360, 450, 540, 630, 720, and so on. Have you done? Is this work done? Okay, now let's go for the x-axis and the y-axis. Let's draw the x-axis and y-axis. For every sum, you have to draw the axis. Okay, children? You just cannot continue in the same figure. We have to do again for a new sums. Okay, I'm just going to draw the figure over here. You have to draw the figure below it. Okay, we have written the values for here. So just draw the x-axis and the y-axis. X dash, y dash. Okay, so we have marked the axis. Now let's try for the first option. Okay, 825 is equal to 810. Okay, so what are you going to do? We have just written for 0 to 360. Yes, 0 to 90, 90 to 180, 180 to 270, 270 to 360. But what about 810? How to go for that? Yes, see, you have to just count, or you have to just find out the multiple of it. This is 91s are, 92s are, 3s are, 4s are, 5s are, 6s are, 7s are, 8s are, and 9s are. So 90 into 9 gives you 810. So how many times are you going to rotate? You are going to rotate 9 times. How are you going to rotate? Rotate 9 times. You are not going to rotate fully 9 times. You are going to rotate 9 times 90 degree. How many times? 9 times 90 degree. Getting my point, children? Okay. So 9 times 90 is 810. So you have to rotate 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, now I have told you the thing to check first of all. Is it a positive angle? Yes, it is a positive angle. So how are you going to move? You are going to move in a anti-clockwise direction. Okay, let's move anti-clockwise direction. So from 0 degree you are going to start. This is one round. We completed one round, second round, third round, fourth round. You just extend it. Okay, children, just do not come over here. Fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, seventh round, eighth round, ninth round. Okay, I have completed 9 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means I have completed 810 degree. Okay, but along with 810 degree, I want 15 degree more. What you want? You have to get 15 degree more. So more 15 degree plus 15. So where is the plus 15 going to lie? This is 810 over here. I need plus 15. So I have to move again in the anti-clockwise direction. So I come over here. So this is 810 and this is your angle 815. Getting my sorry, it's 825. This is 15 and here it's 810. Yes, children? So when you add this two, you get 825. Okay, just I'll mention here 825. So where is 825 lying? Yes, it lies in the second quadrant. Yes. Is it easy, children? I hope you are clear with this part. Yes, children? Yes. Okay, so let's continue with the answer. Let us go for the final statement right down here. Therefore, 825 degree lies in second quadrant or lies in the second quadrant. Okay. Clear? So let's go for the next one. Okay, next one, I would like you people to do the next one. You are going to complete the third sum, the fourth sum and the fifth sum. Okay, children? Minus 55 means, see here, minus 55 means I have told you don't go in the anti-clockwise direction. You have to go in the clockwise direction. So minus 55 you will come like this, around here. So you have to find out in which quadrant it is going to lie. So your homework is from exercise 3.1, question number 1. Question number 1, the third subpart, the fourth subpart and the fifth subpart. We have totally 5 subparts, children. and I have done the first and the second one, and the remaining 3 will be done by you. Okay, let's go for the second question. Write down the second question. For each given angle, find a coterminal angle with measure of theta such that theta lies between 0 and 360 degree. Okay. So they have given you the value 395 degree. Now, okay children, now this is a new term that you are learning. Now what is the meaning of coterminal angle? Coterminal angle. Remember, this is an angle whose measure should be lying between 0 and 360 degree. That is, the theta value is between 0 to 360. And so what was the question given to here? The first sum is 395. So what you have to do is, you have to change this angle in terms of theta, which is between 0 and 360. That is, you have to reduce this value below 360. That is what is the question. Getting my point, children? So remember that the coterminal angle lies between, the coterminal is the angle with the measure of theta such that theta lies between 0 and 360. Let's go for the first sum, 395 degree from question number 2. So question number 2, first sum. Have you completed all the sums, children? Okay. So 395 degree. Get on the statement. Coterminal angle for 395 degree is equal to, very simple. You have to just subtract from 360 degree. So 395 minus 360 is equal to 35 degree. Coterminal angle for 395 degree is equal to, that is, you should get a value like between 0 to 360. I told you, yes, 0 to 360. So you have to subtract. Now what have you got here? 35 degree. What was the angle first here? 395. That was exceeding, that was going above 360 degree. But now we have got a value which is lying between 0 and 360 degree. So this is the coterminal angle. Stay on, coterminal angle for 395 degree. Okay children, I just give you one extra sum over here. Just take one extra sum here. It's not from the book. I want you to do the sum from the book, okay? So just take the extra sum from here. I'm just giving a number 2, okay children? I'll go for 1000 degree. Take down one question, 1000 degree. So we are going to find out the coterminal angle for 1000 degree. This is not in your book, children. I am just giving you an extra question here because I want to give you the second and the third sum as homework. Okay, just mark the homework questions for. From question number 2, you are going to complete the second, third and the fourth. Second, third, fourth I will do, you will do fifth one. Okay. Second, third and fifth. So from 1, 3, 4 and 5, from 2, 2, 3 and 5. Shall we start with the sum, children? Have we completed the first one? Are you ready for the second one? Okay, come on, let's go for the sum. So you are going to write down again here, it's coterminal angle for 1000 degree. What is the coterminal angle for 1000 degree? You are just going to find out the angle which is going to lie between 0 to 360. But this is exceeding, or it is more than 360. So what is this thing that you are going to do? Yes, you are just going to subtract from 360. So let's do your 1000 minus 360. Let's go for the division, subtraction, children. Do the subtraction. So what do you get here? What do you get here, children? We get 640. Yes, that is 0, 0, 0. 10 minus 6, 4. This is 9. So this goes off. So 640. But still, yes, we did not receive the angle which is lying between 0 to 360. So what you have to do again? Yes, you have to do again. You have to subtract again by 360. So do it here again, 360. Are you getting my point, children? I hope you are clear now. Yes? You are clear with the idea? Yes, children? That is, here I got the number 640. Here see, I just subtracted from 360 degrees and I got the answer 35 degree, and that was my final answer. Why I took it as a final answer? Because that was the angle which was lying between 0 to 360 degree. But now here when I subtracted 360, I got 640, which is more than 360. So you have to subtract it again from 360. So let's do the subtraction. So 0 minus 0, 0. This goes off. This is 5. You have to take a, you have to borrow. So 14 minus 6, it's 8. And your 5 minus 3, it's 2. So we got the answer 280. Okay, children. So we got the answer. What's the answer now? 280. Shall we stop here? Can we stop over here? Yes. Why? Because we have arrived at an angle which is lying between 0 to 360 degree. Yes, children. So what is the answer? The answer is 280 degree. Clear? Okay, good. So what is your homework, children? You are going to complete your second subpart and the third subpart from your question number 2, which deals with the positive angle. And now we are just going to do one sum from the negative angle. Okay, we have a negative angle here. Yes, it's minus 270 degree. So you can just put a number as 3. Shall I take the number as 3? Or I'll just take the number as 3. Do not get confused, children. I'm just changing the number because I'm just giving you some extra questions. Okay. So I have changed the numbers. So sum number 3, I'll just take it as minus 270 degree, okay. Now let's see how to do this sum. This is minus sign, okay. So when you have minus 270 degree, when you had a positive angle, we subtracted 360. So when you have a negative angle, yes, you have to add 360 degree. That's all. Come on, do it. Coterminal angle for minus 270 degree. Be careful with the sign, children. You have to be very careful with the sign. Okay. So this is equal to, shall we do it directly or we'll just do in a vertical line method? So I'll be just writing out here minus 270 plus 360 degree. Get the answer, children. So this is minus 270 plus 360. So what is the answer? Plus minus plus minus plus, you have to do minus and you have to write the sign of the bigger number. So 360 minus 270, 0, 9. So you get the answer is 90 degrees. So this is plus 90 degree. So coterminal angle for minus 270 degree is equal to 90 degree. This is the answer. Okay, children. And you may have bigger numbers also. Shall we take one more sum? I have told you to do the 5th sum as homework, okay, children? Okay, just take down one more sum. Okay, take a number 500. We'll take one number. I'll take a number 500, okay, children? Write down. Minus 500 degrees. This is an extra sum here. Write down extra sum over here. Minus 500 degree. I hope you are clear. For minus 270 degree, you have to add 360 degree. And for positive, we subtracted. That's the difference. Just take it. It's minus 500. Shall we proceed, children? Let's go with the work. So write down here. Coterminal angle. Coterminal angle for minus 500 degree is equal to, it's equal to minus 500 plus 360. Minus 500 plus 360. Let's go for the calculation. So what I get here? So I'll just do the working part here, children. You can just do the working part there. If I just write the right side, you will be not able to see it. Okay, so I'll just continue this side. It's minus 500 plus 360, okay. So minus plus, you have to do minus. So let me go for the subtraction. 10 minus 6, 4, this becomes 4. So it's 140, and very, very important thing, go for the sign. What is the sign? It's minus. Why you get minus, children? Minus plus minus, and sign of the bigger number is minus. So what is the answer? Minus 140, yes. Minus 140. Is this a coterminal? No. Why? Because the condition was the theta should lie between 0 to 360. That is, I just want a positive angle and I don't want a negative angle. I don't want a negative angle. So we cannot write down the coterminal angle as minus 140. What you are going to do? You have to again add by 360. Why I am adding here by, you may say, okay, the number is 140, okay. That means we are having an angle between 0 to 360 degree. You may have that thinking. But just see the sign, children, it's minus. We don't have a minus sign over here. We just want a positive number, or we want a positive angle from 0 to 360. So this number is not allowed for a coterminal angle. So you have to again add this by 360. Okay, so when you add this again by 360, what do you get now? So I'll just continue. Okay. This is minus 40. Okay, we just put here this plus 160. But when we write, we have to be very careful for the final angle. We have to write the final angle for this, final answer for it. So what do you get? 360 minus 140. So 0, 2, 1. Now this is plus sign. Minus plus minus. I have subtracted, so I get the answer is 120, and you have to see the sign of the bigger number. Here the bigger number is 360 degree. It is a bigger number. So I can just take the sign of the bigger number as plus. So I get the answer is 120 degree. Okay. So what do you get here? It's 120 degree. So first I took minus 500 plus 360 degree. I got the answer is minus 140 degree. So you can just put here in a bracket. Again, what you have to add here? Plus 360 degree. So you get the answer is 120 degree. So write down here. So coterminal angle for minus 500 degree is equal to 120 degree. Clear, children? First you get 140, yes, minus 140, but we don't want the answer in terms of negative, so we added again with 360 and we got the answer is 120. Now you have the answer in a positive. You get you have a positive angle. So that's our final answer, 120 degree. Okay, children, have you taken down? So here we have done 2 extra sums, yes. So you have to just use this methods and you have to complete your homework sums. Okay, children. Let's go for the third sum. Here on the third question. Shall I rub the answers, children? You're all smart people, yes? Yes. Let's follow up. Here on the third question, the third question says, if A cos theta minus B sin theta is equal to C. Okay, they have given you A cos theta minus B sin theta is equal to C, and they are saying to show that A sin theta plus B cos theta is equal to plus minus square root of A square plus B square minus C square. This is what you have to show. Read on the question, children. If A cos theta minus B sin theta is equal to C, show that A sin theta plus B cos theta is equal to plus minus square root of A square plus B square minus C square. Have you taken on the question? Okay. Let's write on the given part and to find part. Write on your given. You know how to go for the steps. Yes, children, you know wherever there's a possibility, try to write on given, to find, or given, to prove, whatever is there. Okay. According to the question, you have to write down the statements. So given, A cos theta minus B sin theta is equal to C. This is given to you. A cos theta minus B sin theta is equal to C. Okay, now what you have to show, write down here, to show. We are going to show A sin theta plus B cos theta, this is equal to plus minus square root of A square plus B square minus C square. A sin theta plus B cos theta is equal to plus minus square root of A square plus B square minus C square. This is what we have to show. Yes, children, take down the given part and to show part. Now let's go for the solution. Now this type of questions will be asked for a 3 mark or a 2 mark, okay? Maybe for a 3 mark. We cannot just ask this question for 2 mark. You may have this question for 3 marks. Just do not skip anything. This is all very easy. And start learning. Now you are just started with your 3rd unit. Yes, children? So the day we begin our class, the day we start a new thing, what you have to do, you have to just go on following. Just do not keep the work till the last moment and then we will be just running behind it. Just do not have this habit. Whatever is done, or 1 sum or 2 sum, maybe the maximum we go for 3 or 4 sums. Yes, maximum will be 3 to 4, but the minimum will be 1 to, sometimes we just do 1 sum, or sometimes we just do 2 sums. Yes, children? So there itself, then and there itself, you just finish it off and you have to come away from it. So once you finish it off, you will be free. Your mind will be relaxed and you will be not having any fear for any subject. Yes, children? You may not think that, oh, it's so much of things we have. Why you say that we have so much of things? Because you keep everything for the last moment. So just do not have that habit. Every day, if you just do 5 sums, okay, complete the 5 sums per day. Whatever is done, wipe it off, complete it off. Getting my point, children? Okay, let's start with the sum. Go for the solution here. I'm just going to take the given part once again. So I have A cos theta minus B sin theta is equal to C. This is given to us. I have just taken the given part. Let me check the question once again. If we write the question wrong, everything goes wrong. So A cos theta minus B sin theta is equal to C. Okay, children, now here since we are dealing with some square terms, I am going to square on both the sides. And I have told you that if you are going to square, that should be done on both the sides. It's not that you have to square on one side and you have to leave the other side. Whatever changes are be done, it should be done on both the sides. So write down here, taking square on both sides. Taking square on both sides. Let's take the square. So I get here, do not take square for both the terms separately, children. You have to take the square together. So it will be A cos theta minus B sin theta, the whole square is equal to C square. Just do not put here A cos theta the whole square minus B cos theta, B sin theta the whole square. That is totally wrong. You are going to take a square for the LHS together and you are going to take a square for the RHS. So A cos theta minus B sin theta the whole square is equal to C square. Done. Okay, now here we are just going to expand it using the identity. You know the identity A minus B the whole square. What is the identity, children? It's A square minus 2AB plus B square. If you want, we can just mention here. A minus B the whole square is equal to A square minus 2AB plus B square. This is the identity that we are going to use. Let's apply the identity. So I get here A square. A square means these are the terms, 2 terms separately. So I'll write here A square. Therefore, A square cos square theta. Are you getting my point, children? How to write down the square? Do not write cos theta the whole square. Okay, children? We don't write like this. We have to write it as cos square theta. We have already studied this in our 10th standard. Yes? You know how to write the angles. So it's cos square theta. So just applying the identity A square. So A square cos square theta minus, okay, 2 into A into B. 2 into, what is A? It's A cos theta. A cos theta. Then B sin theta. 2a cos theta, b sin theta, at the last plus b square. What is b square, children? Very easy. It's b square sin square theta. And just keep this as c square. Clear? So just see, just go for the identity, complete the identity, children. Complete the step. So what do you get here? A square cos square theta minus 2a cos theta into b sin theta plus b square sin square theta is equal to c square. Okay, let us go for the second step. Now what you have to do here is, wherever you have chance of changing it, you're going to change it. Now how are you going to change it? You're going to use a trigonometric identities here. What are we going to do? We are going to use a trigonometric identity. Let's see how to use the trigonometric identity. We have studied in our 10th, 9th, okay, for 9th and 10th. 9th we started our trigonometry, and 10th we have been used the trigonometry. It's cos square theta. Okay, I'll start from sin square theta. Sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. What is the identity we have used? Sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. So this is the identity, and from this identity we get the value for sin square theta also, and we can get the value for cos square theta also. Okay, what do you get the value for sin square theta? Sin square theta is equal to, just bring this cos square theta this side. You get 1 minus cos square theta. Are you listening, children? Everyone has to be very careful with the steps. You should know all the steps. I'm just going step by step. So this is the identity we are going to use. Sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. And how you are going to get the value for sin square theta? It's 1 minus cos square theta. And how can you find the value for cos square theta? Just bring sin square theta this side. This is 1 minus sin square theta. Cos square theta is equal to 1 minus sin square theta. Okay. So I have found the value for cos square theta and have found the value for sin square theta. So you have to just replace the cos square theta and the sin square theta. Let's do the step, children. Come on, you replace it. So what do you get here? A square. What is the value for cos square theta? It's 1 minus sin square theta. Okay. Minus here it's cos theta, b, sin theta. So we cannot do any changes here. I'm just going to write down a and b together. So 2ab cos theta sin theta. Okay, next. Plus b square 1 minus cos square theta is equal to c square. Get on the steps. Can you see, children? I'll just write down close. It was not wrong, it was correct only, children. I'm just writing a little left side. So a square 1 minus sin square theta minus 2ab cos theta sin theta plus b square 1 minus cos square theta is equal to c square. Okay? Just write down the steps. So now we have to just open the bracket and we have to multiply. Let's open the bracket. So what do you get here? A square into 1. A square into 1, a square. A square into sin square theta. So minus a square sin square theta. We have to be very careful with the terms, children. It's a square into 1, a squared. A square into sin square theta, a squared sin square theta. What is the sign here? Minus. No need to worry about this term. We'll take down this term as it is. Minus 2ab cos theta sin theta. Okay. Let's open this bracket. Plus b square into 1, b square. B square into cos square theta. B square cos square theta. Sin is minus. B square cos square theta. This is equal to c square. Clear, children? A square into 1, a square. A square into sin square theta, a square sin square theta. Put the sign as minus. This term we are writing as it is. B square into 1, b square. B square into cos square theta, b square cos square theta. This is equal to c square. Okay. Now what are we going to do is, we're just going to take the square terms on one side. See here, we want square terms on one side. So I'm just going to take all the square terms to one side. I'll continue over here, children. I hope you are doing the sums along with me. Follow the steps, children. I'm just going to take the square terms to that side. So I'll be writing the remaining terms here. Therefore, minus a square sine square theta minus 2ab cos theta sine theta minus b square cos square theta. This is equal to what is present already over here? C square is present. So c square minus a square. So this is plus, yes? So when plus goes to that side, minus. Again plus b square. So when plus b square goes to the RHS, minus. Yes, children? So put here minus. Okay. Now just see here, all the terms are negative. Mostly all the terms except C, everything is negative. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take minus common. What are you going to do? Take minus sign common. So this is equal to minus is taken common. So when you take minus common, the negative numbers will turn to positive and the positive number will turn to negative. Remember, when you take the negative sign common, the negative number will change to positive number and a positive number will change to negative number. So a square sine square theta. Minus changes to plus, minus changes to plus. Again the minus change to plus. Okay, this is for the LHS part. Now same manner I am going to go for the RHS also. This is equal to minus. This is plus, okay, so it will become minus, yes. So minus C plus A square plus B square. See what I have done? I have taken the minus sign common. So when I take minus sign common, the negative number turns to be positive and the positive number turns to be negative. So negative, negative is here. I can cancel negative and negative. I have cancelled them. Okay. Now just observe the sum carefully. It's a square sine square theta, 2ab cos theta sine theta, b square cos square theta. So this is the identity. Here see, when you opened, you got a square cos square theta, b square sine square theta. Just compare these two. So here just difference. Here it's a sine theta. There we had with cos theta. A was with cos theta and b you had sine theta. Here it's just replaced, changed. A sine theta, b cos theta. And here you have plus sign. So this is a sine theta plus b cos theta the whole square. Do you get here? A sine theta plus b cos theta the whole square. This is the expansion of a sine theta. Here you have a square. This is 2ab. This is b square. So a sine theta plus b cos theta the whole square is equal to, I'm just going to arrange in a proper way. I'll get a square plus b square minus c square. Yes. A square plus b square minus c square. It's very easy, children. So when I take the square root, what happens? So a sine theta plus b cos theta is equal to, I'm going to take the square root. So this turns to be plus minus of a square plus b square minus c square. Hence shown. Clear, children? Is it clear? A sine theta plus b, the square goes on. So I'm just going to take square root. I have told you when you just take square root, the square and the square root goes off. So the square goes off here and you get here a square root. Do not take the square of, you cannot cancel 2 and square root, 2 and square root and 2 and square root, okay? You have to keep this as square root of a square plus b square minus c square. Here the cancellation is not possible because here you have some signs, okay children? So you cannot cancel it. Here it was common, here also you may have, okay, here also plus is there. No, but this was common, a common square. Here you have a separate square for all the terms. So we just got the answer. A sine theta plus b cos theta is equal to plus minus square root of a square plus b square minus c square. That's what we have to show. So we started from the given part and here we just used the identity, algebraic identity, and then also we used a trigonometric identity, sine square theta plus cos square theta. We got the value, we substituted, we simplified and we got the required answer. Okay, children, you have one more sum to do as homework. You will be completing sum number 4 as your homework. Sum number 4 will be your homework. Let me repeat the homework part once again. Your homework is from question number 1, 3rd, 4th, 5th. From question number 2, 2nd, 3rd and 5th. And the 4th sum will be your homework. And we will be continuing with the remaining sums in the next class.